With the end of the Boruto anime around this time last year, the main question that everybody had was when exactly would the anime come back and if the quality issues that we saw in the code arc could ever be fixed. This is what we will be discussing in today's video, based on the new information that we have been given. The information that will be discussed in today's video has to do about when the Boruto anime would come back and how exactly will Studio Pierrot be tackling the issues in the scheduling and the quality of the anime as a whole. So let's start off by talking about the scheduling and animation issues that we have currently been seeing. We know that Boruto is an anime that has been hated for a lot of different reasons, which stem from it having a lot of filler / anime canon content that doesn't appear in the manga, and also it having some poor animation quality. This is mainly due to its scheduling, as Boruto is a weekly anime, which means that every week throughout the year, sometimes there are breaks and sometimes they're not, but regularly every week there is supposed to be a Boruto anime episode to come out. This is similar to a lot of the animes that we saw back in the days, like Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece. We saw all of these animes, which are known as the big three, have similar scheduling. Every week there would be a new anime episode to come out. And there are a few problems that arise with this scheduling. One being that if every week there's a new anime episode that comes out, then it means that the anime is slowly going to catch up to the manga at a certain point. And also, weekly anime tend to face a lot of quality issues and instances in the series where the animation goes from being amazing in one episode to being terrible in the next. So there are multiple ways that various animation studios decide to deal with this problem. The first problem that I discussed was the anime catching up to the manga. Animes like Naruto and Bleach decide to make filler content that doesn't come from the manga to give it a bit of time for the manga to go in maybe a year or two forward, and then the anime goes back to adapting the manga content to make sure there is a buffer and that the anime never catches up to the manga. That's the approach that Naruto, Bleach, and even Boruto does in its anime scheduling in the past. There are different approaches, like with One Piece. One Piece decides to slow in the pace, and instead of having filler episodes, they have filler content that is added to each episode. They slow down the pacing and make sure that the anime will never reach the manga. These are two different approaches. One Piece doesn't have the filler episodes that everybody seems to hate, but their pacing is quite terrible when they compare it to Naruto or Bleach. But however, Naruto and Bleach do have these filler episodes that everybody hates, and most people just end up skipping it, or if they do watch the episode, they won't watch its entirety, they would just get bored and then end up skipping the episode entirely. This is a category that Boruto falls into. Boruto has filler episodes / anime canon episodes that don't derive from the manga, and when we take into consideration that Boruto is a monthly manga, we can already see how much more anime canon needs to be added due to the fact that the manga only releases about 40 pages every month. Contrary to other mangas like Naruto, Bleach, or One Piece, they release weekly chapters that were 20 pages, which would mean that in a month, if you take into consideration that there is usually a break a month for every weekly manga, then mangas like Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece, they would release on average 60 pages compared to Boruto, which releases 40 pages. In the span of a year, those pages start to add up, which is why Boruto has a lot more filler or anime canon compared to Naruto or Bleach and even One Piece. But this used to work back in the days. People wouldn't really complain. However, recently with the releases of other seasonal animes like Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen, we have recently seen that these animes that take their time and only have weekly episodes till the 24 mark, and then they go back and they start working on the productions for years, and then they release it seasonally, they have seen a lot more success and a lot more quality of enjoyment from the consumers. This is something that Studio Pierrot has taken into consideration, and they have used this formula for Bleach, and we see Bleach have a lot of success. I personally I'm not that big of a Bleach fan, but the quality that the Bleach anime has had now that it has shifted to it being seasonal is remarkable, and is something that Studio Pierrot has realized and has decided that they will be using this new formula for the animes to come. As recently, there was an interview with the newly appointed CEO. I don't know if it's necessarily the newly appointed, but I just know that there was a new interview with the CEO of Studio Pierrot. If it was the new one or not, I'm not 100% sure, but he answered some questions about the future of the studio and what it now aims to do in this modern era. He discusses aims to improve work-life balance, as we know that animators tend to work a lot. Recently, we have seen a lot of animators complain about work hours and them not being paid for overtime, but these are issues that the CEO aims to improve in this modern era by improving work-life balance, paying animators for extra overtime hours that they put in, and learning from the Bleach seasonal success, which means that in the future they will be using the Bleach formula for the next anime project that they will have, which means that instead of producing anime episodes every week and risking poor scheduling leading to poor animation quality, they will be putting quality over quantity, which means taking more time to make sure that the anime episodes are actually good and well choreographed instead of making sure that there is an anime episode every week. This basically means that their next few projects are going to be seasonal. They are going to be using this Bleach formula that seems to be working in this modern era and switching from weekly episodes to a seasonal formula that seems to work with Bleach. This basically confirms that Boruto, when it does end up coming back, it will be seasonal. It is amazing, and I would be extremely happy if this is the case. He doesn't necessarily say that, oh, Boruto, when it comes back, it will be seasonal, but he says that he aims to go towards this Bleach formula that works in this modern era, which basically almost confirms that when Boruto does end up coming back, it will most likely be seasonal. And this is the perfect news, the best piece of information that we could learn, especially with Boruto and its new time skip that we have with Boruto to Blue Vortex. A lot of people have started to switch up and say that, yeah, I know the anime sucks, but the manga is amazing. Now, what do you think will happen when the anime is amazing and is on the same level as Boruto to Blue Vortex? Because the only real issue that people had was that one, oh, Boruto is a brat, but that simply isn't the case. But the other problem that they had was the poor animation quality and the so-called filler / anime canon that a lot of people seem to hate. This is what the CEO is moving away from. So Boruto, when it comes back, it will be seasonal. So there will be no excuse for people to hate on Boruto. But this will also bring a lot of good to the Boruto manga. As we have seen with mangas like Jujutsu Kaisen, at first, even though the manga was good, the sales weren't that high. But after the first season that came out, we see a spike in the manga sales that Jujutsu Kaisen has had recently due to the success of the anime. And if Boruto could have such similar success in the anime industry like it has not had in the past, we could see a spike in Boruto manga sales, which would be an overall great thing for the Boruto series as a whole. But the real question is, when exactly would this come to be? When exactly will Boruto be coming back? This is what everybody has, especially after Boruto to Blue Vortex. It has been peak and we want to see it in animation form. I have had a lot of people ask me this question, but it seems like we already have the answer by the same person who leaked when the code arc would come out, as he says that the Boruto anime has been pushed back to 2027 or even 2028. I know that a lot of people will look at this and be like, damn, the Boruto anime is gonna come back then? That's almost 4 years. I'll be an adult now. I'll be something else. I probably wouldn't even be watching the Boruto anime. First of all, that is cap. You know that you're gonna be watching it. You know that everybody's going to be waiting for the anime to come out, and you're probably gonna be watching anime till you die. That's cool, and I'm in the same boat. But the second thing that a lot of people would like to point out is this actually reliable? Is this actually true? I personally would 100% agree. Right now, we have Bleach that is currently ongoing. Studio Pierrot is putting all their focus into Bleach at the current moment. We literally didn't even get the Naruto 4 episodes that was promised. So if they were to release Boruto now or in the next few years, do you really think it would be as good as we expected to? No. The more time they take, the better it is actually going to end up becoming. So I am not surprised that Boruto is going to be pushed back to 2027 or even 2028. I literally have no problem with that, and it means that they are focusing on exactly what the CEO said: quality over quantity. And I am happy because it would literally give Boruto to Blue Vortex 4 years or 3 years of straight manga content that the anime has not tapped into. So when we get there, we will not be seeing the anime canon episodes / filler that a lot of people hate. So I believe that this is perfect news. However, how exactly would the anime come back? A lot of people have been mentioning the fact that we could have the Omnipotence arc actually be a movie. And this does make a lot of sense when you think about the fact that they said that Boruto Part 1 ended. However, Boruto Part 1 in the manga itself doesn't end with Boruto coming back to life. It ends with the Omnipotence arc, which I won't be diving into because I don't want to spoil the people who don't read the manga. But as we all know, that's not where Boruto Part 1 truly ends. So a lot of people had the question of what exactly would be the name of the anime when it does come back. Would it be Boruto Part 2? But we know that Boruto Part 2 happens a little bit later. So what would actually end up happening? This is why I believe that a movie would be the perfect option. We would have Boruto Omnipotence arc be a movie. This is literally perfect because we know that there's roughly around 13 more chapters left before the end of Part 1, and I don't think that they could make a seasonal anime just off that short amount of chapters. It is definitely a possibility. I'm not saying that it is not, but I believe that it would fit more the Boruto movie format. We know that the Momoshiki arc, the Chunin exam arc where Momoshiki came and Boruto ended up getting his karma, we know that in the manga it was around 13 to 14 or even 12 chapters, and the movie was around 2 hours long. Don't quote me on this, but I believe that this was the case. So it being a movie does actually make a lot of sense. So maybe in 2027 and 2028 we will have the Boruto movie. Or it could be that we have the Boruto movie a little bit earlier, and then in 2028 we have the time skip begin. But I believe that that is less likely. I think we could get the Boruto movie after Bleach is done, and then we have the Boruto movie started to be worked on. Maybe it will take 1 to 2 years for the production to be done. We get a trailer in 2027 or 2026, and then in 2028 or 2027 we get the movie to actually come out. This would be perfect in my personal opinion, and the movie would go crazy. You will see the switch up of the character that we saw in the first Boruto movie into a completely new character, a character who has grown and truly understands his position and what it means to be a shinobi in the second movie that Boruto has ever released. Because we know that Boruto only has one movie at the current moment, so we could get a last movie for Part 1 of Boruto. That's my own personal opinion. But in that movie, there should be a little bit more extra content so that we can see Sarada get her third Tomoe Sharingan. Because we know that in the manga, around the Boro fight, that she had awakened that third Tomoe Sharingan. But we don't see that happen in the anime. And spoilers for people who don't know at the current moment, you have 5 seconds and I will be saying what happens in the arc. But we know that Sarada gets her Mangekyo Sharingan in the Omnipotence arc. So we have to see Sarada get her third Tomoe Sharingan before we end up seeing her get the Mangekyo Sharingan. Or maybe they will do something similar to Obito, where Sarada goes directly to the Mangekyo Sharingan. She awakens her third Tomoe Sharingan and awakens the Mangekyo Sharingan at the same time, just like Obito did in that flashback. This is another possibility. But that's not the only piece of information that we do end up getting, because there's also some information about Naruto live action that is currently being worked on in the background. We have no release for Naruto live action, and I know a lot of people are not hyped, but One Piece did pretty good, and I don't think that Naruto would do as good due to One Piece having the likes of Netflix helping in its production. But Naruto the live actually has a very good producer. I can't remember his name off the top right right now, but if you do your research, you would see that Naruto live action does have a pretty good cast and people who wants to work on the production. So maybe it will be amazing. But we really know that live actions, we don't really care about the live action. All we really want to know is the Boruto anime, potentially those 4 anime episodes that we haven't gotten till this day. It's been almost like 6 months and we still haven't gotten those 4 anime episodes. I completely gave up on that, but there is a lot of content being worked on in the backgrounds. So definitely do not give up on Boruto and it potentially coming back in the anime. But just as a quick recap of the goal of Studio Pierrot, and I probably said it wrong throughout the entire video, just cut me some slack. It's cool. You guys know what I'm trying to say. But their vision for the future is to increase their overtime pay for animators, aim for higher quality for their upcoming projects, which will most likely be seasonal, improve working conditions to make sure that the animators can actually do their work without any health complications, and strengthen the bond between creators and fans. I really have no idea what that means, but I just know it's a good thing. So we're seeing the studio move towards a better future and move towards being competitors with studios that release seasonal animes like Mappa. So I personally believe that we have some good news when it comes to the Boruto anime and it potentially being seasonal. But speaking about extra content, make sure to watch this video right here to find out what would happen if Boruto fought the Kages. That could potentially be an anime canon filler arc.